standing. It's a balancing pose. It's kind of a reaching pose, as you'll see. We're both honoring the past and we're reaching forward towards our possibilities. Now, I thought that it was really interesting that for me, where I live, this falls right after we celebrated that midwinter point. We're halfway between winter and spring. So we're coming out of that kind of symbolically frozen, restful stage of time if we follow the seasons, and we're reaching towards this change in our lives, firing up maybe some change, some much needed change in our lives with the coming light and the coming heat. And it also falls on the full moon. We just had a full moon here, and because it's reached its full illumination and we're on the other side of that, we can start releasing, just like the moon does, we can start releasing what no longer serves us. Now, we worked through that a bit with the past, with Warrior 2 as well, and we're going to continue to work on that in a bit of a different way today. So we're going to first look at a couple of poses, like just revisit a couple of poses that we've already done in videos to get us a little bit warmed up, our muscles in our back and our legs and our arms ready. For this pose, we're going to look at the pose, and then we're going to do what's called a blanketing ritual to help us to release and reach towards these possibilities. So the things I've gathered today that I'm going to end up using, I just grabbed some crystals that really felt grounding and were supporting me. A lot of them kind of look like snow and ice. I just, you can grab any or you can grab none. I just kind of wanted them. Some people will, in a blanketing ritual, actually circle themselves in crystals. You can do that as well. I also grabbed one of my favorite blankets. That's the one I'm going to wrap around my shoulders. I have the yoga blankets I'm going to put over my legs. I actually grabbed my pillow off of my bed because I'm going to use that for my head. You'll need a bolster and a couple of blocks, or just a bolster as well. Also grabbed a black candle. And we're going to kind of use this as our source of light and meditation. And you can also grab a cup of snow if you wish. If you don't have snow, then you can grab ice, you can grab water. It's going to start to melt during the process anyway, so I just went ahead and grabbed water. And I think it's nice that we kind of have that symbolism of like the water and the frozen and the season. Right now, even in Ohio, our snow is melted. It's really wet and going to rain again. And then we're going to have our light, that looking forward to spring and those possibilities. So let's get into this pose. I want to look at first if we can mimic this pose actually from corpse pose. So if you remember Shavasana, corpse pose that we looked at, we can actually mimic the movements to get ourselves started. So let's just go down on our mat and stretch out. And I do have this chair here for later. I wanted to show you a possibility with the chair, so I'm going to have to work around it. But you want to put your arms straight up above your head, nice long reach, because in this pose, we're going to, if you have that capability, reach up. So we're really stretching, maybe pointing the toes. In Shavasana or corpse pose, we have our feet about hip distance apart, and to mimic this pose, we're going to bring up one leg. So let's start with the right, bring it up, and here maybe we want to start flexing, and you don't have to bring it all the way up if it's not comfortable. We'll start flexing the foot and pointing the toe, kind of getting these muscles warmed up and ready. Also, if this is not comfortable for you to have your arms above, you can have your arms down to the side as well. I want you to do what's comfortable for you. Let's go ahead and lower that leg and bring up the other one, and same thing. We're going to point the toe, flex the foot, just kind of getting ourselves ready. Let's bring back up the other one, and this time let's just kind of circle it. One way, and then the other. Kind of working out the back. You can feel this in your lower back as well. And back up to the other one. hands above our head and we have a foot up here like this, this is basically the pose we're going to be doing, just in reverse, so that you can see it. Okay, so let's come back up. We're going to come up into a table. So let's roll over to our side and kind of gently, easily push ourselves up out of this pose so that we can just kind of come around into a table pose. So we're going to look at doing sunbird again. So we've done this before in a previous video. And hands are going to be right under your shoulders, knees, right under your hips. And we're going to take this just real gently. You want to take the right hand out, the left opposite foot out. And then we're just going to bring them up gently until they're parallel with the mat. So we're starting to get our body prepped for doing this standing. And then bring them down and bring them in. And then again, on the opposite side, let's take our left hand out, this time our right foot back, and then we're just going to gently bring them both up. Hopefully you don't have a chair and a tree that you're working in between like I do. And then easily bring them back down and in. And you can do that just as many times as you want, working through that pose, both poses, working through them, getting yourself ready to look at this standing warrior 3 balancing pose. So let's go ahead and come up to standing. And let's just look at the pose. There's so many different ways that we can do this pose. And so I just kind of play through them, and you can get a look at it, and you can see what's going to work for you as well. So we're going to first just ground ourselves into this standing position. And again, like we did before, raise the toes, maybe widen the toes, get that nice stability going. Shoulders rolled back. And so we're nice and grounded here. Now in this pose, we're going to take one foot and step it back. So you want to take your balance. I'm offsetting my balance onto my left foot so that I can just slide that right foot back just a little bit up to the toe. And again, if that's not comfortable, if you need more balance, you can get that foot closer together so that you can stand on both. And then again, we're going to take the arms up overhead. We're going to raise them up here. Now, if this is, again, not something that's comfortable for you, arms can stay out to the side. You can maybe widen them out if you want. You're going to kind of keep them in line with the body. But either way, let's start with them down below. And let's see what that looks like, because this is kind of called like an airplane pose. So we're going to take our arms back, and we're going to just start to lean forward. So this is kind of a beginner. You're moving your body together. So those hands, it's kind of like they're attached to your thighs. And no matter where they are, they're coming back and coming forward. So we're getting a little bit of a feeling of what it feels like to balance. And this is kind of like a beginner of that warrior 3. So if this is what you want to do, or this is all the farther you can go, this is absolutely fine for the pose. You're still reaching and balancing. So let's try it on the other side. I'm taking my weight, putting it on the right foot now, stepping back with the left, arms still to the sides, and reaching. Again, keeping those hands where the thighs are, and coming back up. And again, if you just want to stay like this, just the foot being out and back, kind of reaching, you can do this nice little version of the pose as well. You're still honoring, especially here, I feel like you're honoring the ground beneath your feet, the pass, and you're still reaching toward those possibilities. Maybe in this pose, if you have a foot down and you're more comfortable, you can reach up and reach toward those possibilities. Just play around with it. See what feels comfortable for you, and if something is not feeling right, then, version of this pose. We would have our arms straight up, and we're going to let the body work in as one thing. So whatever that back leg is rising up, this front arm is coming forward. So as we're standing, we have this nice balance. We're holding onto the wall with one hand, using it for support as we come down, and you're going to try to get to be parallel with the mat and flexing that foot if it's comfortable and coming back up. Now let's look at the other side. So again, now we're going to take the right hand to the wall. That right leg I have my balance on so I can step back, and I'm going to raise up the arm. And again, working in unison, we're going to come down until we're parallel with the mat. And again, wherever you have to stop, if this is where you have to stop, or this, that is fine too if you're working towards this full pose. And without the wall, it's going to look exactly the same. We're just going to have both hands up, that foot back, and we're going to come down until we come forward. Now here is where if you need the chair, you can put your hands on the chair and come down. Now you want to make sure that you have these hips parallel with the mat. That's kind of the point here. We're not raising it up and trying to do like a balancing half moon. We're keeping those hips down and flat. So we have the chair. I have a taller chair. If you need, you can do a shorter chair and bring, the top around to this end to use. So that is our full warrior pose that we're doing on both sides. You can see that we're going back, we're reaching for those possibilities, we're honoring our past that got us here. So let's look at this blanketing ceremony. After we've done all this work, we want this kind of nice, cozy rest. We're still in kind of our, the end of our winter. We're getting those last freezes, maybe last little bits of snow. And so we want to do something that's really, really cozy. We want this ritual to feel really comfortable. So what I'm going to do, you can just take a bolster and put it on the ground to kind of put your knees over if that's comfortable. I like to because we just, we're working with the back. I like to really raise mine up and build this bridge. So what I do is I take both blocks and put them up, and then I lay my bolster over them so that my legs are going to go up here. So let's get the rest before we do that ready. So I'm going to put my pillow back here for my head, and I'm going to get my candle lit. So I have that for my meditation. And you want them to be kind of parallel. You want them to be away from all the blankets and stuff. We're going to have to be very careful. So you might want to slide it away just so you can see it with your cup of water. They need to be kind of in line where you can see them comfortably. Maybe even down a little bit, if that's going to be easier for you to look at. It'd be really nice if I had like a little bit of a table here that I could have put them up on, then I would be looking up at them, but I knew if I did that you wouldn't be able to see me anymore. So we're going to work with this. Work with what you have. I'm going to take this blanket first, and I'm watching where my candle is and where my blanket is, but I'm going to take this blanket and I'm going to wrap it around me. I'm going to grab my other one because we're getting really cozy here. So I have this to bring all around me. And it's probably with all this stuff hard for you to see, but I'm going to come close to this blanket here so that I can go ahead and put my legs up over it. And then I'm going to go ahead, because it's chilly here, and cover up my feet. Oh, I'm all messed up here with the blanket. different places have blanketing rituals where they cover the person that they're honoring. So in this, we're blanketing and honoring ourselves. And we want to get nice and comfortable and cozy and warm. And we're going to just glance at that candle. Kind of use it for our meditation at first. Starting to notice the breath. Starting to just get into more of a relaxed state. If you're not using a candle, maybe you just want to lay here and imagine the flame and the light. What we're doing here is we're starting to honor our past. In our past, we make mistakes, and we do really good things. We do really, things that didn't help us along, but we learned from those mistakes. And that's what we're doing here. We're honoring them, but we're using the water so that if we're honoring things, if there's things we come across that we want to let go. You don't have to look back over your whole life. You might want to just look back over the winter, over the past year. It doesn't matter how long you want to stay here and what kind of challenge you want to lay upon yourself. You could look back at the last week, at the last month. It doesn't matter. But you're going to honor both what went wrong and what went right. What went wrong? Oh, I can't say it. What went wrong also helped us. It also supported us. It also helped us to learn. But if there's something that you want to let go of, and I want you to meditate on the water and put it in there. Let it go. Put it in the water. Just like it's flowing out of you, that thing that you're letting go of. Stay here and you can continue to do this process for as long as you want. Now, I like to do this because this is really good for, helping that lower back that we just really worked in this pose. Having my legs up, having my back against the floor. So this felt good to me. Maybe this doesn't. Maybe you want to do this pose and you don't want to do the blanketing ritual with it. Maybe you want to do the pose and then come down and just sit. After you've done, some kind of restorative pose, you've worked with the back, then you just want to take this blanket, get yourself comfortable, and have both that candle, that brightness, and both that water kind of symbolic of snow and frozen if it's not ice or snow at the time. And just get yourself comfortable. Maybe even move into your bed and onto the couch and do this part of the ritual afterwards. Whatever feels good for you, whatever feels natural for you, whatever works for you. The thing you're going to do afterwards is, you've thought about letting go with the water. We've put those things we're letting go into the water. We've looked at this light and meditated on our possibilities. So when you're finished, what you're going to do is you're going to take the candle and think about those possibilities, those things you're working towards as wishes, and let the smoke, as you blow out the candle, carry them off for you. Watch the smoke go. Watch it carry off all those possibilities into your future. Believing, that is the key. Feeling grateful for what is to come here is the key to manifesting those wishes for yourself, to focusing on that. And then when you're done, you're going to take the water outside and toss it. You're going to toss away those things that you're letting go of. So I know this stuff is all symbolic, but I think that it really helps us to use ritual, to use symbolism, to think about what the seasons are doing and what they're teaching us, what the poses in our body, what we're doing, and what it can teach us, to really make yourself a warrior in your own life. So I hope that something